Well, today is absolutely huge. Why? Because a new Pulsar has just been launched. Now, the first Pulsar back in 2001, when it first came out, it was laughing at convention. It was revolutionizing as to what true motorcycling is all about. It was, kind of a rebellion against convention, and it was a rebellion against being just run of the mill, or being a compromise, or being a follower of someone else. Rather than that, putting your foot down and making a difference was what the Pulsar was truly made up of. Like people say, uh, you know true leaders don't just do different things, but they do things differently. And that was kind of a game changer, something that and completely changed people's perception about motorcycling here in India. And for me, Pulsar holds a very close place in my heart, because back in 2006, the first pro biking showroom in Hyderabad and across India as well, which was supposed to be company owned, and the first launch from pro biking showroom, the Pulsar 180 with the sharper design, backlit switches, LCD display, I mean digital console, and position lamps, uh, all these things, pilot lamps, and sharp wolf-eyed headlamp, and the twin LED strips at the back. That was kind of a revolutionary launch, and I was among the first owners of the blue color Pulsar 180, and that had a very close place in my heart's, very fond memories with good friends, and even my first heartbreak, which I talk about during my story sessions. And the Pulsar 180 was kind of my companion that was with me during that rough phase. And I can imagine riding the Pulsar 180 just aimlessly into the unknown after that kind of a heartbreak experience, and the kind of satisfaction and the peace that I discovered, the ability to forgive, forget, and look beyond everything that had just happened and move on. And that happened because I kind of had the right kind of machine that allowed me to escape into a different dimension. Now, all this, the Pulsar has a lot of emotion attached to it. Desh ki, like, it has that pulses, pulsating experience. It sets your pulses racing, the very name Pulsar. And then you had the stunt revolution happening with the Pulsar Mania and MTV stunt, Pulsar Mania stunt show, and everything was different, everything was changing. And yes, over the years, Pulsar has evolved from what it was. The Pulsar Twins launched back in 2001 to what we got in few years later with the alloy wheels introduced, and then of course what happened in 2006, and of course then the fastest Indian 220 came in, I think around 2009 or 10 something. And 2012 was again kind of a huge revolution, rather than just evolution. Triple spark technology, four valve engine, the 200 NS kind of surfaced out of nowhere, and that was a storm. I mean, my cousin owned one of the first 200 NS first gen model, yellow color, one of the best looking models, and it used to give a quarter liter bikes, higher segment bikes, a run for their money when you put it to the test and push it to the limits. But yes, so I'm sure he's watching. He's a fanboy. He used to own a Pulsar 150 that had done more than 1,30,000 kilometers, and it was still running. But he wanted to upgrade to the latest gen Pulsar that was kind of revolutionizing. It had a everything, revolutionizing everything. It had a perimeter frame. It had a mono nitrox gas charge monoshock, and the styling was way ahead of its time. And yes, part digital, part analog console, and the performance especially kind of blew away, because it was more than what we had expected. Now, then came the RS200, the fully fed Pulsar, one of the most fastest Pulsars is what they claimed. Liquid cooling, fuel injection, and all these things being included, and making it more more composed and more complete with all the goodies that you would have always imagined on the 200NS. And that also was one of the fastest machines, really brutal acceleration. If you have ridden, if you haven't ridden, even to this day, even post the BS6 update, the RS200 is a brutal beast, is what I say. It comes alive the moment you ring the throttle wide open. And so same is the case with the 200NS. Now enough is about this. Is the legacy, this is the legacy of the Pulsar over the years, over 2 decades of leadership. I mean, 1 million within 2006 of Pulsars being sold, and 12 million being sold by 2021. Those numbers are huge. I mean, and across the world, the kind of following brand Pulsar enjoys is phenomenal, and it makes us feel proud as Indians that an Indian manufacturer is making waves across the seas. Now, it all culminated to there's been a lot of teasers, spy shots of this upcoming Pulsar 250, or they were not disclosing the exact kind of capacity. So we were expecting maybe more than that, or maybe less than that. What was it going to be? We couldn't figure out because they always try to keep it under wraps. And now today, the final official unveil has been made. Now I'm not sure whether I can run this video because it's just a fanboy reaction video. I'm not giving my opinion or anything. My media ride will happen on 8th and the video will come out on 11th when the embargo lifts. Until then, I'm not supposed to talk about the ride, feel and all, and I can't when I have not ridden the bike and I have not seen the bike in the flesh. But this is just the launch reaction because this is huge. I'm a Pulsar fanboy. I think I have the right to go crazy about this sensational launch. But now, what did you come expecting and what did we get at this launch is what we're going to talk about now. Yes, we get new styling. In fact, I watched the launch event from the beginning and it kind of gave me a lot of emotional kind of flashback, the memories with my fond machine when Rajiv Bajaj sir was speaking about how Pulsar kind of became an integral part or kind of an icon in their product portfolio that changed everything. Now, this is about the two new bikes that have been unveiled today. One is the F250 and then is the N250. F as this thing goes, F stands for fairing, I guess, though it's not been explained or emphasized, and N stands for naked. So you have the faired part and then you have the naked bike, and both the bikes have been launched. Now the specs are out and the design is out. So what do you think about the design? First of all, you have the bi-directional LED and the LED DRLs for the F variant. LED DRLs with the boomerang, reverse boomerang effect. Again, when the pilot lamps were first introduced, when that Naked Wolf design was introduced, it was something unique. Then the 200NS came, had a unique kind of a headlamp. Again, it was called the Naked Wolf. Many people even started groups with the Naked Wolf name, Naked Wolves kind of a name. So every design was a revolution. Even the 220 still has holds a place in everyone's heart as one of the fastest Indian made motorcycles, and also one of the legendary bikes that have come up over the years in the Indian motoring history. Then this will this design come across or find such an immortal place in our hearts? Will this go down as an immortal machine? Because recently I have been talking to a few of my friends who started missing the AS 150 or the AS 200. Somehow adventure sport, maybe it was a little ahead of its time, because now you have the adventure touring segment really catching fire. People want to tour on their machines, people want to escape into the unknown once the weekend approaches, and they want to leave all the cares and worries behind. They have, like, the entire nation has embraced motorcycling as a form of therapy, as a form of lifestyle. And now is the time. Maybe if the AS200 and the AS150 were launched now, maybe it would have gotten a different kind of reception. But anyway, that is with the past. Now people were recalling and hoping they would get something in the lines of AS200 or AS150, and maybe Bajaj kind of heard that voice, inner voice, and they have given us the F250, which kind of reminds us of that quarter fairing that the AS200 or the AS150 had, or the Pulsar 220 has. It gets that quarter fairing but neatly integrated. The tank kind of reminds me of the 200NS a little bit, but it is kind of a different proportion. Then you have the tail lamp. Again, new design for the tail lamp and the split seat layout, new grab bars. New digital console, part analog, part digital. Again, that's a good thing for us enthusiasts. We like to see the rev needle climb, and that is what people emphasized, and that's what the Bajaj guys also emphasized. They want to go old school with the rev needle being kept intact, and you have the backlit display, blue backlit display for the speedo, which is nice and legible. So the tires, now the tires front, I could notice it was MRF zappers, which is kind of a disappointment. And I hope the rear tire, they emphasize that it is a 130 section tire, but they have not emphasized whether it is a radial tire. I really wish, when I look at the tread pattern, I notice that it can be a radial tire. I'm not sure. I have to confirm it once I have hands-on experience with the bike, but I really wish it is a radial rear tire, because only that can complement the true performance that this kind of machine has on offer. Another kind of a trade-off or kind of a mixed opinion I have is about the frame. Now they say this comes with the tubular chassis, and it's an all new tubular frame, and then you have telescopic forks up front, new monoshock setup at the back, and the box section swing arm. We still don't get an aluminum swing arm. I really wish they had included it, or maybe they are coming up with a performance variant later on, and this is something that they are targeting towards the masses with an aggressive price tag. So the chassis, tubular chassis, coming from the perimeter frame, the kind of handling, the kind of stability it had on offer, it is kind of a mixed bag kind of an opinion. I wish they could have retained the same perimeter frame and worked around it, is what I feel, because that was absolutely top class. Be it on the RS200 or the NS200, the perimeter frame was a value addition that kind of complemented its brutal character that was lurking underneath. Another thing, the powertrain. Now they claim it is the 250cc quarter liter single cylinder. It is oil cooled. Now again, the 200NS and the RS200 came with liquid cooling. Now this doesn't get liquid cooling, this gets oil cooling instead. So that is another kind of a trade-off are we willing to make as Pulsar maniacs, because we've gotten used to Bajaj scaling things up on another level which we can't even imagine, can't see coming. And now they have come up with kind of a blend of this thing which kind of balances good price, good cost effectiveness, decent power package, and all these things. And even if they had derived it from the Duke 250, I wish the power should have been somewhere around 30 bhp, but instead it is 24.5 bhp or 24.5 ps or close to 25 ps, and the torque is around 21.5 newton meters. So this is again kind of a mixed bag opinion as to maybe they could have given us at least 30 bhp from the quarter liter sport bike, is what I feel. Nevertheless, numbers can't just make up for everything, because numbers on the spec sheet are different, and the way the bike rides and handles is completely different. So I never go by just the numbers. More than that, I'd love to have the feel of the throttle in my hand and run it through its paces across the Chakan plant once I get the opportunity. So suspension is done, the tires are done, then the brakes, you get 300mm disc up front and the 230mm disc at the back. Again, single channel ABS. So why not dual channel ABS? Again, that remains a question mark. And what do you guys feel? Do you think, are you satisfied as a Pulsar maniac from what you got today? And the pricing is 1,40,000 for the F250, which is the faired one, and 1,38,000 for the naked version for the N250. Now both of them look good. The naked one obviously reminds us a little bit of the MT15 because of the positioning of the LED DRLs, and of course you have the bifunctional LED in between for the F as well as the N model. So that kind of also robs us of the kind of value addition that we got with the RS200. The RS200, I wish they continue the NS and the RS parallelly with this, because those are immortal machines. They have earned people's respect, and they are the best sellers, and they are great in terms of performance. So because the RS200 came with dual projector lamps, they were so powerful that it could almost provide light to bikes in front of it. That's how powerful the RS200 lights were, and they are currently as well. So I wish we had gotten dual setup for the faired version, but instead we get the single bidirectional LED. We get a good fairing, of course. I think that offers better wind protection. We also get assistant slipper clutch. Now that is a kind of interesting inclusion in this package, which prevents you from prevents the rear wheel from locking or hopping while doing faster downshifts, and of course provides for a lighter clutch pull. So all these things put together, how do I feel? The energy levels within me was too high, and the expectation was like going through the roof. Like, what do you expect from a James Cameron movie or a Christopher Nolan movie? Because they've scaled it to such a, like, scaled their capabilities or people's expectations to such huge levels that whenever there's a new movie coming up or a sequel coming up, if you're looking for Avatar 2, you would obviously love to see more than what you saw in Avatar 1. You want to see better CGI, better locales, better of everything, the visuals, the color grading, the everything has to be better than the first installment. So that's how I came expecting. It is kind of okayish. It is a happy moment. You've gotten a new Pulsar. Even the exhaust has that kind of a stubby exhaust kind of a design from the RS200, is what I feel. Couldn't get a clear look at it, but overall I feel this is a decent launch. But more than that, how do you guys feel? Please feel free to comment below and let me know. This is just the fanboy within me going crazy. I never had planned for this. There's a car waiting for my shoot downstairs, but I've just kept it waiting, and I wanted to do this video right away. And kind of even Steven kind of pricing for the equipment we get. I missed dual channel ABS. I hope we get a radial rear tire, and apart from that, and more power, 30 bhp at least. This, apart from these things, everything else seems pretty decent. So I'll catch you guys in the next video. Until then, take care, God bless, and ride safe.